As we near the 21st century, our lives seem to be getting more hectic. Sometimes there no longer seems to be enough time in the day to accomplish the tasks required of us. We answer to a growing range of people, friends, family, co-workers, teachers, and employers. It feels like we need at least a 25-hour day to get everything done.
Schedule management, like comedy, is just a matter of timing, finding a pace and a sequence that makes our act more effective to the audience. If we can find the right pace and sequence for our daily lives, we can take control of our schedules rather than having our schedule take control of us.
The other day, someone walks up to me and says, "Where does the time go?" I said, "What do I look like, its keeper?" So I decided to watch it for a while. I wasn't going to lose it. I wasn't going to let it slip away. So I followed it. There it went, into a coffee shop. I spotted it, sitting in the corner, calling itself lunch. The next thing I knew, it turned into dinner. Then it leaped up, said it was closing, marched over the clock, and punched out. It said it was overtime, but there was no way I was getting paid for it. I said, "Listen, you've got to be more Pacific." It said it would be if it were in California. The next thing I knew, I'm in New York City. It was 2 hours ahead of me. Then it turned into a time machine and invited me inside. I said, "I'll pass." The last time I tried that, I met Abe Lincoln, and that was 7 years ago. But that's a whole different time period, folks, and I'm all out of it. I was in my boss's office the other day, and he says, "Listen, I want you to get your priorities straight." I said, "Yes, sir, exactly. That's why I came to your office first thing in the morning." He said, "I was in a meeting all morning. Now it's in the middle of the afternoon." I said, "Exactly, sir, and I thought our meeting would have taken precedence. I had other things to do, How good of me to wait." He says to me, "What can I do for you?" I said, "Sir, I'd like to have the day off." He says, "A day off? It's in the middle of the afternoon, and you haven't done anything." I said, "Exactly, sir. Well, whose fault is that? I wasted your time waiting for you all day." He says, "What am I paying you for?" I said, "I'm glad you brought that up. I'd like an advance." He says, "Advance? I thought you wanted the day off." I said, "I'll take that too, thank you very much." He says, "You're out of order." I said, "I'm not out of order, just out of sequence." Speaking of sequence, your wife was wearing a lovely dress last night.
Setting priorities is the first step to take when developing a time management plan. Ask yourself what tasks need to be completed and in what order. For an overall time management plan, these tasks can be narrowed down into the following broad categories: work, home, family, friends, personal time, and volunteer activities. Let's look at the first one.
Work. What you do for financial reasons as well as personal satisfaction. This may include work at the office, work outside of the office but related to your job, work around the house, or courses you may be taking.
Home and family include responsibilities you have, like taking a pet to get its yearly vaccination, and those things you do for fun, like going on family picnics.
Friends may need your support at a social function or a gathering, whether it's out of obligation like a baby shower or a wedding, or the pleasure of your company while they try a new restaurant.
Personal time includes hobbies, just relaxing, exercise, or whatever you do for pure enjoyment.
Volunteer activities can be time you spend involved in church, a community group, or fundraising, for example.
Once you've put your activities into these categories, rank by number which tasks take priority over the others.
I love taking on different jobs. Why, one time I was a county assessor. Nonetheless, my wife told me I was a poor assessor of reality. I said, "Why would I assess reality? There's no money in it. If there was money in it, the government would tax it." She says, "You have quite an imagination." I said, "What's that worth?" She says, "Well, you can't put a price on it, but it's quite valuable." I said, "If it doesn't cost anything, then I'll take two."
After you rank your priorities, it's important to determine whether there's a realistic amount of time available to accomplish all of the things you enjoy and feel obligated to do. Do you know others who have similar responsibilities and seem to handle stress well? Better yet, at what point do most of the people you know seem to reach their limit? Observing their behavior may help you become realistic about how much you can handle.
Pace yourself so you can handle a reasonable amount of tasks in a realistic amount of time. Use others as examples for time management reality and your own past experiences to reinforce productive habits and avoid unproductive ones.
Keep a diary for a week. On each day, list everything you accomplished. Make note if the allotted time frame made the day stressful, too slow-paced, or comfortably paced for you. Think back over each of these days to determine which factors may have contributed to your overall feelings.
Was your day stressful because you didn't allow enough time for something unexpected? Was your day too slow-paced because you hadn't scheduled enough to do?
Use your comfortably paced days as a gauge for making future schedules.
Hi, folks. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about organization. Well, I'm the most organized man in the world. I'm so organized, I decided to unionize. But before I could unionize, I had to take a vote. Before I could vote, I had to take a roll call. Me said here. Myself, here. I. So then we voted. Me said yes. Myself said yes. I said no. We couldn't afford the dues. But I was outnumbered, so I had to join. Me said sign on the dotted line. I said me misplaced my glasses. Myself said I had them. I said to myself, where's the pen? Myself said ask me. I said I did. We decided to leave me out of it. That was fine with me, but what about we? I decided to quit before it was us against them.
Get organized. Find the necessary tools and keep them where you can see them.
Keep a daytimer calendar with you at all times. Write all future appointments and lists of things to do down in a calendar so you can keep information in one place. Avoid having one calendar on your desk, one in your car, one on your person, and one at home. Transferring information to several different places in itself is a waste of time, not to mention hard to remember to do. Avoid keeping appointments and to-do lists on your computer unless it's portable and small enough to take with you wherever you go. If you're forced to memorize information, it defeats the whole purpose of keeping a schedule.
Manage your work area at the office and at home. At the office, keep your desk clean and clutter-free. Use a Rolodex, colored files, and alphabetical order for everything, unless you have another filing system that is user-friendly to outsiders. At home, organize your closets, kitchen, build drawers, and anything else that will help you locate what you need when you need it.
I like to keep a tight schedule. Every morning I wake up at 6:10. At 6:11 I put my slippers on. At 6:14 I open the shower door. At 6:15 I start the shower. At 6:16 I start to lather up. One day my boss called at 6:17. He said, I need you at work right away. I said, this throws my schedule completely off, but I'll do the best I can. When I arrived at the office, he took one look at me and he says, boy, get that lather out of your hair. And for heaven's sakes, put a towel on.
Make a daily schedule and keep it with you at all times, just like your calendar. Set aside reasonable amounts of time for each task that you must do and prioritize them with the approximate start and finish time of each.
Group together activities that can be done at the same time. For example, you can read an article for work while you do your laundry.
Schedule in breaks for yourself to do something you enjoy, even if it's just relaxing.
Stick to your schedule unless something comes up that cannot be avoided. Then reschedule unfinished tasks on your calendar. If you have to schedule a doctor's appointment, try to get the first appointment of the day so you're not wasting time in someone else's office.
I'm in my office the other day and I see the kid walk up from the mailroom. Now this kid is a bore, a pest, a nuisance, a scourge. I decide to cold shoulder him. This storm front isn't going to weather me. So I pick up the phone with one hand. I start on a fax to my mother. Then I start typing. I'm writing on a scratch pad. In walks the kid. I slip on some headphones. I turn up the volume. He says, hi. I says, this office is quarantined. I'm very sick. An ambulance is on its way. He says, great. I'm on my lunch hour. I'll ride along. I just got some pictures back from vacation. I'd love to show them to you. You should see the grass grow in Wyoming.
Managing interruptions. The first step is to avoid places where you will likely be interrupted by phone calls or unexpected face-to-face visits. This could be a quiet room away from noise where there is no phone at all. Often, this is impossible. At work, for example, if part of your job is handling phone calls or coworkers who have questions or need input. If this is the case, you should probably allot a segment of time to encompass work-related interruptions. However, there are several things you can do to make these interruptions as short as possible.
Take phone calls as an example. Whether they are expected or unexpected, there are 4 things you can do to keep them as brief and to the point as possible.
If it's a return call, state the conclusion ASAP and avoid small talk.
Oh,
Thanks for calling me back. I wanted to see if you'd be interested in house sitting for us next week while we're on vacation. Oh, that'd be great. Look, I'm right in the middle of finishing something up, so could we get together tomorrow at 8 and go over details? Great. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Use a detailed outline for phone calls you initiate so you don't get sidetracked with other topics. For example, a greeting, main content, question answering period, and closing would be a basic outline to follow.
Hi, this is Julie Clancy with Mirror Image. I'm fine, thanks. I'm calling to confirm our lunch meeting at 11:30 on Thursday. Right. Okay, could you do me a favor and bring with you that latest quote? Great. Do you have any questions for me before we get together? Right, that latest quote was based on 60,000 copies. Anything else? Okay, well then I'll see you at 11:30 on Thursday. Okay, bye-bye.
Unscheduled but desired sales calls, for example. If you're wanting to talk to a sales rep about their product because you've heard they have lower prices, but they've caught you at a bad time, immediately schedule a time on your calendar for you to call them back. Let them know you're setting aside this block of time only for them.
Well, actually, I am interested in ordering another printer, but right now I'm in the middle of something. Could you call me back around 10 tomorrow? Okay, 10:30. Okay, I'm going ahead and blocking off time for you between 10:30 and 10:45 tomorrow. But could you make sure you give me a call between that time, because otherwise it's going to be hard to get a hold of me, okay? Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
In general, cut chit-chat to 2 sentences. For example,
Great to hear from you. What can I do for you?
Interruptions that are face-to-face can be even more difficult to manage, but there are some options. Number 1, get to the point right away if you need to talk to the person.
Yeah, come on in, have a seat. We need to go over that warehouse issue.
Yeah, well, what's on?
Number 2, be honest and tell them politely that you are busy, but will schedule a time to get back to them.
Okay, Bob, you got a second?
I don't, Tom. Can you come back? We're really busy. Around 2 o'clock this afternoon?
Sure, no problem. Thanks.
Okay.
Number 3, whether at work or at the office, put a work in progress or do not disturb sign up, so people know you would rather not be interrupted. Number 4, use subtle clues to let people know you need to get back to work. Shuffle papers, glance at your watch, clear your throat, and focus full visual attention to what you were doing prior to their arrival.
emergencies. This one is simple. If something can't be avoided, reschedule it after the crisis has passed.
When you're doing stand-up comedy, they give you a certain amount of time. Now, you can't go over. It can't be too much. It can't be too little. It's got to be just right. What am I, Goldilocks? So this guy's telling me I only have 1 minute. I says, 1 minute? My best joke takes 2 minutes. He says, 2 minutes, cut it in half. I said, that's 1 undercooked egg, but I'll try. All right, here we go. 2 dogs and a cat are walking down the street. The dog says... What's that? I'm out of time. Well, now who's got egg on their face?
Know your own limits. You are just one person and can only do so much. Even if there is a realistic amount of time to accomplish everything in a day, it may or may not be possible depending on your present state of mind or physical ability. If it's appropriate, delegate some of the smaller tasks to someone else who is dependable or owes you a favor. Be careful that you avoid making excuses for yourself and pass off something that you could do yourself without much inconvenience.
If you're the kind of person who is easily distracted, make a point to focus full attention on the scheduled activity. Don't start and stop, leaving a lot of unfinished tasks. Many of us procrastinate and put things off that appear unpleasant, complex, or time-consuming.
The answer? Do the challenging things when you are at your peak, whether that's early in the morning or later in the day. We all have our productive time. It's important to make this a habit. Then after some time, you won't be psychologically impaired by your most difficult tasks.
Procrastinators also make excuses for themselves. Common excuses are I'm putting it off because I don't have enough information, or I don't have enough time, or I don't have a deadline.
The answer? Stop making excuses. If you feel you don't have enough information, get the information. If you feel like there's not enough time, make a point to schedule the time. If you don't have a deadline, create one.
Right. Oh, wait, did I just put you on hold just for a second? Okay, thanks a lot.
Julie, would you mind copying these for me? Because I just don't have time right now.
Well, like... All Yeah, I guess so. Thanks.
Thank you.
Most of us are guilty of taking on more than we have to or are able to. Probably one of the most difficult things to learn is saying no. When you agree to something that you truly don't have time to do, you are letting others manage your time. How do you learn to say no? Practice. Here are a few ideas for you to try.
Script writing. This is when you actually write out either a hypothetical dialogue or a conversation you've already had. Make note of nonverbal cues in your script. Mirror imaging. Stand in front of the mirror and practice having a hypothetical conversation or one that you've already had. Respond to the person's requests by saying no.
I'm sorry. I'm just too busy today. I can't make copies for you.
Role-playing. This is similar to mirror imaging, except that you will have a hypothetical conversation with an actual person instead of a reflected image of yourself.
No, I'm sorry. I really can't.
Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I don't either, but maybe you should check with your supervisor.
Oh, that's a good one. You should use that. That'd work.
Okay.
I like to reward myself as often as possible. This morning I woke up. Having accomplished this, I decided to reward myself with a little nap. After the nap, I went on to work, arriving just in time for lunch. After this major achievement, I decided another gift was on its way. Yes, a 2-hour lunch. Returning to the office after lunch, I met my boss, who decided to reward himself. He had packed up my desk and sent me on my way. Goodbye, goodbye.
Reward yourself when you've completed work, whether it's finished early or on time as scheduled. Do something that you enjoy but don't always make the time to do. Studies show that people do better work more quickly when they know that there will be a reward.
There are short and long-term rewards. A short-term reward would include anything that was immediately satisfying. Watch a video, relax, call a friend, read a chapter of an entertaining book, go for a bike ride, see a movie, go out to dinner at a new restaurant.
Long-term rewards are for those larger projects you've completed and usually require extensive planning. Take a vacation from work. Have your home or office redecorated. Treat yourself by making a larger purchase you've always wanted.
Now that you've learned how to have a productive 25-hour day, let's summarize the points. Number 1, it's important to set your priorities so that you have some idea of what things need to be completed first. Priorities include work, home and family, friends, personal time, and volunteer activities.
Number 2, assess the time you have available. Is it realistic? Is there enough time in your day, week, or month to accomplish all the things you enjoy and feel obligated to do? Do you know others who perform a similar quantity of tasks and seem to handle stress well?
Number 3, get organized. Keep the same day timer or calendar with you at all times. Be sure to organize your surroundings at work and at home so that you can find the tools you need immediately.
Number 4, make a detailed daily schedule with approximate start and finish times for each task.
Number 5, manage interruptions. Make phone calls brief by stating the conclusion right away, having an outline, rescheduling for specific times, cutting chit-chat to 2 sentences. For face-to-face interruptions, get to the point as soon as possible. Be honest and tell them you're busy, or use subtle nonverbal cues like glancing at your watch.
Number 6, know your own limits. Do you try to take on too much? If so, delegate smaller tasks. Are you easily distracted? Try focusing on one task at a time. Do you tend to procrastinate? If so, do the most challenging things first and stop making excuses for yourself. Do you have trouble saying no to others? Practice.
And finally, number 7, once you've completed a task, reward yourself.
So now you know. As with comedy, timing is everything.
Thanks, folks. You've been a great audience, but I'm all out of time. I do have some sage or rosemary in back. All right, I'll see you next time.